everybody. Welcome to the Jessie Knits podcast. My name is Jessie and I'm going to be your host. You might have noticed if you've seen my previous episodes that this is not my normal voice. I am dealing with a little bit of a cold, and so my voice is just a little bit off kilter. It's mainly in my throat, so it's not a huge deal. I do have my handy dandy fruit freezers here to try to keep the coughing at bay, as well as a great big cup of water. So, featuring Virginia Tech coach Frank Beamer. So anyway, like I said, my name is Jessie. I'm going to be your host. This is episode 4 of the Jessie Knits podcast, titled To Be Determined. You can find me on Ravelry. My username there is Hokie Knits. That's Hokie Knits. I am also on Instagram. My Instagram username is Jessie Does Stuff. And the podcast as well as show notes can be found at the Blogspot website. And that URL is jessie-knits-podcast.blogspot.com. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014, and welcome to the show. First of all, I just wanted to apologize. I was supposed to record last Monday before I left on my trip, and that didn't happen, obviously. The major reason for that is that it was Memorial Day, and so Danny, my boyfriend, was home, and I had a really hard time trying to get away to block off a chunk of time to record. Another reason for that is that I have this strange allergy that pops up every now and again, where my eye, it's either or, my eyelid swells. Sometimes it's related to my contacts, sometimes it's just because I haven't pinned down exactly what causes it, but anyway, so my eyelid was basically swollen almost shut. And so I thought that I'll just hold off for the week, and I'll get back on my normal recording schedule this week. So here we are. So, my weeks in review. It's been 3 weeks, and the first 2 weeks pretty mundane, nothing too exciting. I worked a lot, saved up a bunch of money for my trip, and then last Tuesday morning, I got on a train to New York City for the Book Expo America convention, which is a publishers print media conference. And I attended as a blogger because, as I've mentioned before, I run a book blog. And it was a fantastic event. I had just the most fun. I ended up staying with one of the girls who became one of my closest friends in the blogging community. She and her husband, we finally met in real life on Tuesday, and so that was pretty cool. We stayed together and pretty much did a lot of the trip together. So Tuesday was just getting into the city. We went to this really fantastic restaurant run by or owned by Jonathan Waxman, which you may recognize that name if you watch Top Chef Masters. It was so good. Unbelievably good food. And then on Wednesday was the blogger conference. And so it was just a one-day event built specifically for bloggers. And there were panels. I attended 4 panels. There were 2 panels every hour for 4 hours. And so you got to pick which one you wanted to attend. And so I attended 4 of those. And then at the end, they gave away a great big stack of books. And I had an opportunity to meet one of the authors whose books was there at the BloggerCon. And so that was a really good time. And then Thursday, Friday were the main event of Book Expo America. And so basically you walk into the Javits Center, which is a huge hall, and there are publishers and exhibitors all over the main floor. And you can talk to anybody in the media profession, editors, marketing personnel, authors, etc., etc., etc. And the main draw for people attending Book Expo America is the opportunity to get a hold of several advanced reader copies. And sometimes there are finished copies. I found that several of the books that I got were finished copies. And so between Thursday and Friday, I managed, well, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I brought home 43 books. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, you know, if you add up the price of admission, essentially the books that I just got cover that without thinking about it. So it was it's really fantastic. I was able to pick up several of the books that I'm most anxious about that are coming out over the next couple of months. And a couple that I hadn't heard of but that are really, really exciting for me. I won't go into too many details because this is a knitting podcast. But it was a really good time. And then on Saturday is typically it's used to be called something else. Reader Day. Used to be called Reader Day. So if you weren't a media professional, if you weren't a blogger, if you weren't somebody in the industry, you could purchase a pass to just go to this Reader Day. Well, this year, from what I understand, they sold 6,000 more tickets for this Reader Day, which they've now changed the title to BookCon. They sold 6,000 more this year than they did last year. And so one of the publishers that I follow on Twitter posted a picture of the crowd that was waiting to get into Javits on this BookCon day. And I was like, I do not feel like braving the crowds for that. You know, it was just, nope. I'm not in the mood. So, Andrea and her husband, the people that I was staying with, they felt the same way. So we went and had brunch and went and got ginormous cookies. About that big. About that thick. They're fantastic chocolate chip cookies. And just kind of spent some more time in the city before I had to catch my train and head on home. So that was my trip to BEA. And now I'm sick. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to do that. I think that it's just because there's, you know, several million people in New York City. And while it was my vacation, it was still a pretty, I don't want to say stressful, but leaning towards stressful. So, you know, early mornings, long days, have to get around, have to be able to fight the crowd and whatnot. So, it's no surprise that I'm sick now. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So anyway, let's get on with the knitting podcast. First things first, people who have introduced themselves in the group, first of all, welcome. So happy to see you joining in on the discussion. We have 3 newbies this go around. First we have Mandy from Tennessee. Her username is MandyT2012. Mandy actually discovered me and my podcast because she is a cross-stitcher who watched my cross-stitch videos on YouTube. And now, apparently, my podcast has inspired her to become a knitter, so that's pretty cool. Mandy, I'm really looking forward to see what you do and talking cross-stitch and knitting. It's really, really cool. So thanks for joining. Next, we have Brenda from Connecticut, and her username is Coder Knitter. That's CODER Knitter. And Brenda likes to knit everything. And she is currently knitting a cardigan for her granddaughter's first birthday, so that's very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I haven't knit any baby items, despite the fact that I have several very young nieces and nephews. And so I'm anxious to see your cardigan that you make for your granddaughter. And then last, we have Jean from Florida. And her username, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but it's spelled AETARA. And she likes to do all the things. She likes to knit all the things all the time, and picked up spinning last year and a wheel in May. Congratulations, that's very cool. And so now she says that she wants to spin all the things all the time. So that's pretty exciting. There's never enough time for anything, is there? I mean, there's never enough time. I wish I could give up sleep. It's a big chunk of the day that I could use for doing things. Say Levy. So those are our 3 newbies. So welcome, and looking forward to chatting with you. Next, we're going to talk about the knit along that started 3 days ago. So this was the main reason that I wanted to record last Monday, because I wanted a chance to really hash out this new to you June knit along, crochet along. So Cal. It's finally time to do a craft along in the podcast. So I spoke about it in the last episode, so I'm just going to reiterate what I said. I go into more depth on the planning thread on our group. And if you have questions, feel free to ask, either publicly or privately, however you choose. But essentially, this cal is just to get us to try new things. So you can, for each project that you submit, it can be worth up to 3 entries. So, new to you designer, new to you yarn, and that can be material, that can be weight, and new to you technique, which covers a large, vast chunk of techniques. And so, like I mentioned before, I am casting on the Out of Darkness by Boo Knits, and I have never knit Boo Knits before. I'm using a lace weight, which I have never knit with before. I'm actually really nervous about winding that. If you have any suggestions about winding a ball of lace weight, feel free to leave it in the thread, because from what I understand, it's not exactly the same as a fingering or a worsted weight wind up. And then also new to me, the Out of Darkness has beading, which I have never done before, and I'm really, really excited to work with. So that's going to be mine. Now, obviously, I can't win, but nonetheless. So I said win. Yes. There will be a giveaway at the end of June. So the first episode that I record after the end of the cal, so after the end of June, I will draw a winner using a random number generator. I will draw it on the show. And the winner will win a paid pattern from Ravelry. It's of your choice and up to $10. I have some wiggle room there if, it's like $11 and some change because of currency exchange or whatever. We'll make it work. So, anyway, so up to $10 Ravelry paid pattern for you guys for participating in this cal. So there's that. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to. Unfortunately, talking makes it worse. Okay. Questions. There weren't any. Nobody posed any questions over the last couple of weeks, so nothing to talk about there. For those of you that have just joined, there is a thread in the Ravelry group where you can ask me a question, ask me anything, whatever you like, and I will answer them on the next airing episode. So there we go. Knitting. Okay. Finishes. Nada. Between a week in New York City, where I thought I was going to have more knitting time than I actually did, to just my general slow progress, no finishes. Sorry about that. WIPs. I have 3 works in progress to update you on. And the first is my Eggnog, which is a cardigan by Thea Coleman. And I am knitting this out of Knit Pick Swish Worsted in the Dove Heather colorway. And I you will see I've cast off the sleeves. So I've put them on waste yarn, and I've begun working down the back and the fronts. So let me hold this up. So there is the back, and then the long fronts. They're really long fronts. So yeah, I'm making some progress on this guy. I have to tell you that once I put the sleeves on waste yarn, I pretty much set this down and focused on other things for a little while. There we go. Maybe you can see it better there. So there you see the raglan seam and the sleeves. So there we go. Oh gosh, the thing is so soft. But the problem is that because it's in worsted weight, it's heavy. I'm trying really hard not to turn on my air conditioning, trying to hold out as long as possible. Just because this winter was so taxing on our electric. So I'm trying to take it easy on the air conditioning and working on this. It's really heavy and it's in my lap now. So I'm so sorry, guys. I know that's a pain in the butt. Anyway, so I'm not working on this as actively as I was, and that's okay because, you know, I don't need it until fall, early fall since it's short sleeve, but nonetheless, not till early fall, and so I'm okay with working on some other things. Oh, and for your information, I'm knitting this on US size 10s, 6mm needles, and these are my these are Knitter's Dream Novas. I had them on interchangeables, and then I got annoyed with them coming undone, and so I bought some fixed circulars. So there's that. Okay. Next, I have very little progress on my Stormborn shawl. This is a currently knitted along. I believe the last clue comes out this Sunday. So it's almost done. I am not almost done. This is an exclusive colorway distributed by Jimmy Beans Wool. And it is in Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock Multi. And so here is my progress. So you can see the scales pretty well. It's really, really cool. And so, let's see. Where's my little guy? So here's where I was the last time you saw it. And I've done about that much. So not a whole lot. Or that much. Not fantastic progress. The trouble with this one is that because it's lace, because there's charting and patterning and whatnot to contend with, it's not very mindless. And mindless is kind of what I've needed these days. So anyway, I am making progress. I put in a row here and a row there, and I'm working on it. I am about almost midway through Clue 2, so I have some catching up to do. I'm not going to get it done in time, but that's okay. Okay. My last work in progress that I have to show you an update on. I have made a lot of progress on this, guys. I mentioned that I have been seeking mindless knitting, just because it's more convenient for watching TV and hanging out and whatnot. And so I have been working on my hitchhiker. And as you can see, the little stitch marker there hanging, I have made quite some progress, which thank goodness, because it's been some slow going on my projects these days. So let me see. So I've done about that much since you last saw this 3 weeks ago. So I'm getting there. Let me see how many teeth I've done. I've done 10.5 teeth in 3 weeks. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. I found this to be pretty addicting all over again. I just get really excited about the colors. And I'm getting really close to the finish line. I have only 11 teeth left to go. Or however much I can get out of this. Whatever it used to be a ball, but it's not really anymore. So there's that. And that is that's pretty much what's been my focus for the last couple weeks, just because it's mindless and you just go and you go and you go. I will say that it's getting to be a slog again because the teeth take a long time. I haven't counted the number of stitches on here, but it's, it's a lot. And I think it's really interesting. So we get areas where it pulls a lot, and then where it variegates really, really nicely. I really love this thing. I can't wait to wear it. It's so loud and interesting, and I am not concerned at all. I'm looking forward to being able to wear it. So that's that. This is knit. I didn't tell you. Okay. First of all, sorry guys, sick brain. Stormborn Shawl. The designer is Kristen Ashbaugh Helmreich. Knit out of Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sack Multi in the Fire and Blood colorway, exclusively from Jimmy Bean's Wool. It is knit on US size 4, 3.5 millimeters. And then this hitchhiker here. This is designed by Martina Bem. This is knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in their No Good Deed colorway. Also on US size 4, 3.5 millimeters. Okay, that covers it. There we go. And this is being stored in my cute new project bag from Kicks and Giggles. And it's Les Amis de la Forêt. I do not speak French. I pretend to speak French. I'm assuming that's French. That's too funny. I got this for Camp Loopy. My Camp Loopy project will go in here once I get my hitchhiker out of it, because it kind of looks like forest and camping. And so there we go. So that's what's going to go in there. I also got this because I thought that I was going to be able to knit on the floor at BEA, because BEA is typically full of lines. And so I thought, well, knit in line, get some stuff done. And so I just string this around my arm and try to knit. It's like, no, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. Too much else going on, too much else to see. So that's my Kicks and Giggles bag. So let's talk about enabling. I'm going to skip future plans momentarily, and we'll just move straight into enabling. So first of all, I've got my new knitting bag. Then, to continue on with the last episode, apparently I'm still addicted to self-striping. This is Desert Vista Dye Works in the Lotus colorway, and this is a self-striping. Oh, the base is Viso, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's pretty accurate. It's a little bit darker than that. Really pretty. Anxious to knit up some Mystic Spiral socks. I think maybe. Sorry, guys. And then next, there's going to be some crinkling because it's still in the plastic. I forgot to take them out of the plastic. Okay. Next, I have 4 skeins of Madeline Tosh Merino Light. 3. Oh yeah, that's not going to show up in the Thunderstorm colorway, which is like a, there we go. It's okay. It's a black with little hints of blues and grays in there. So I have 3 of those. And then 1 in Well Water, which is a fantastic gray blue. So yeah, so that's Tosh Merino Light, which is 100% superwash merino. It's fingering weight. So there we go. And that is all my enabling. So what is all the TML for? Because that kind of looks like a sweater quantity of TML. It is. You're smart. Look at you. So I have apparently lost my mind, and I joined Nerd Wars. And so I am a part of Team One More Page, and I am continuing my assumption that I am insane because I am attempting a dissertation, which is basically a 3-month long project. Here's where it gets better. I'm even more insane because I'm going to do this. This is The Laneway by Vera Valimaki, and it is a fingering weight sweater slash tunic slash dress. I don't know that I'll ever wear it as a dress, but you never know. And so I'm gonna attempt this in the next 3 months. And so that is my future plans right there. There's pockets, and it's really, really adorable. And so I hope that I can make it happen and get it done for my dissertation. Really, really, really cute. So that's that. So what do you guys think? You think I'm insane? Do you think I can do it? I mean, we all know how slow I knit, and because I apparently have castanitis and I just want to do all the things. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, so those are my future plans. And that pretty much is it on the knitting. So if you are not interested in Jessie Reads, see you guys next time. I will be recording in 2 weeks. Mark my words, I will be here. Just trying to get back into the swing of things, and so I will see you in 2 weeks. If you are sticking around for Jessie Reads, then yay. So this part of the show is devoted to just what I'm reading, because I'm a big reader, as you might have noticed. So first of all, I have temporarily put Dreams of Gods and Monsters, as well as A Feast for Crows. I've set them aside temporarily. A Feast for Crows is just too big. It requires a lot of my attention right now. It requires too much of my attention. And Dreams of Gods and Monsters, it's by Laini Taylor, and it's finishing up one of my most favorite series. And so I'm really, really kind of battling with myself about reading it because I don't want it to be over. I want to read it, but I don't want it to be over. So that's temporarily off to the side. And the good news is that I have 43 new books from Book Expo America to occupy my time. So it's all good. So I put those away, and I will pick them back up, and we'll see when that is. I may read a few pages of them here and there, but they will not be my focus, and so I won't be mentioning them in future podcasts for a little while. So the last book that I finished, I actually got this from Penguin. Has a first to read program where they offer several books a month, and you can request an e-galley, so an e-advanced reader copy. And you only have access to it for a very short period of time, which I think is genius, because mass producers of these electronic ARCs, those titles clog my Kindle. So I have, 50 some odd books from Edelweiss and NetGalley. Maybe 70 to 100. I have a lot of titles from these publishers. But because this one that I got from First to Read was on a time limit, it was my focus. I read it immediately. And it was so good. So good. And so I'm going to show you the cover. It is Inland by Kat Rosenfeld. And Kat Rosenfeld authored Amelia Ann is Dead and Gone, which came out last year, I think, or 2 years ago. This Inland is due for release in just under 2 weeks. It's due for release on June 12th, and it's hard to explain because it's a little bit of a psychological thriller. I don't want to give anything away. Essentially, there's this girl, and her name is Callie, short for Calypso. And her mom dies when she's very young, and she and her dad, they live on the ocean, and so they move inland. So inland is the title of the book. They move to Wisconsin, and they live in the middle of basically in the middle of the country, away from water sources. And Callie develops a lung condition where she can't breathe. She has episodes where she completely loses consciousness because her lungs just do not cooperate. They collapse. And she struggles because she's often in and out of school. She's in and out of hospitals. She doesn't have many friends because her dad is a professor. They move all over the country too often. And so she has a really rough growing up for quite some time. And they move to her dad gets an opportunity to work on a project in the swamp of northern Florida, and they move to Florida, and Callie starts getting better. Her lung function starts improving, and she's able to breathe, and she goes extended periods of time without episodes, and she starts developing relationships with people. She gets friends, and I'm not going to go into any more details, but it's so phenomenal. It's so good because it makes you question your own beliefs about the words that you're reading. So one minute you think it's one thing, and then the next minute you're like, nope, that's wrong. It's this. And then there's another theory that gets thrown in. And then sometimes it's a combination of all three. It's so good. I love psychological thrillers. I love books that really make you think. And not only that, but the answer is not definitive, which just, I love that. I love that. I love that it's almost a personal experience, that like she wrote this book so that each person gets their own take from it. So good. So good. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you're one of those people that's like, oh, I don't like young adult, throw it out the window. Read this book. It's so good. So yeah. So that's coming out June 12th. And now I will forever read anything by Kat Rosenfeld because I just love that. So then I decided to pick up my first book from BEA, and I started it on the train home. And I was trying to decide which one, and I think I picked right. So this is, that's not really the cover. A young woman, a kingdom, an evil enemy, a birthright foretold. This is the actual cover. It is called The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This book comes out July 8th, I believe, 2014. You may have heard of this already because although the book isn't officially published, Warner Brothers has acquired the rights to the movie, and Emma Watson is going to star as the lead character, which I wish I didn't know that because now I see her face when I'm reading this book. But nonetheless, so they're already working on the movie adaptation of this book. This book is sold as basically Game of Thrones for girls. Main character is a 19-year-old young woman, and essentially the world in which they live, the monarch is a woman. And our main character, Kelsey, I think it's Kelsey, it's spelled Kelsea, so it could be Kelsia. But Kelsia is next in line to inherit the throne. Her mom has passed away. She was assassinated. as rulers most often are in fantasy novels. And so now Calcia is due to inherit the throne, but her uncle wants the throne for himself. And there's another enemy, the Red Queen, who rules in a neighboring country. Yeah, a neighboring area. They both want Calcia's throne. And so essentially, Calcia is going to have to fight for her life. I'm only about 100 pages in, and phenomenal. Oh my goodness, you guys, I can't stop raving about these books. I'm getting super lucky. This book is so good. It appeals to a lot of young adult readers, but I think that it appeals to a lot of adult readers too, because the main character is not 15, 16 years old. She is 19. The characters, the adults, full-on adults, like the Red Queen, they have very adult opinions. There's this one scene, well, anyway, it is appealing to adults as well, to adult readers. It definitely follows a very similar fantasy theme with the queen and a monarchy and seemingly medieval style of government, but it's a little different, and I'm not going to tell you why, because you should read it for yourself so that you can see that. But it's really good, really good, really good. I'm only 100 pages in, like I said, but I am anxious to see what the rest of it happens. And then, of course, I imagine that once this book is over, I'm going to have a huge book hangover, which, if you're a reader, you understand that a book hangover is when you read a really good book and then you're not sure what to do with yourself. This book is the first in a trilogy, and the next book isn't due for release until next year. So, anyway. Very exciting. The Queen of the Tierling by Erica Johansson. So, y'all, that's pretty much all I've got for you. I was trying really hard to keep this under 40 minutes because my coughing and whatnot. So I will see you all in 2 weeks. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that if you're new, you'll come back and see us again. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. I just can't even thank you enough. And so I will sign off here. Alrighty, y'all. See you later. Bye.